Hey friends, maybe like me, you are in a job, in a role that requires you to be in the midst of trauma. You just see stuff that is inhumane, it's not right, you hear stories. Maybe you work in the medical field as a doctor, a nurse, or an ambulance, or a fire, or a police officer, anything. Something where you're exposed to trauma all the time. And if we think that we can walk through the storms of life with others and not get wet, then we're fooling ourselves, because compassion fatigue, burnout, and trauma exposure response are very real. And I want to talk to you very briefly about that last thing. If you're like me, I work in a space where I'm with hearing people's stories, hearing people's life stories, hearing the trauma of that as we work through that through an integrated in a healing approach. But you could be a counselor, a psychologist, or maybe you want to enter into that space. You might be a pastor, a minister, who knows? There are lots of jobs that require us to be in a space and a place where we're exposed to trauma. It's not ours, but we can vicariously or secondarily be exposed to that and be affected by that. And trauma exposure response simply means that it's the transformation that takes place within us as a result of exposure to the suffering of other living beings on this planet. And friends, that includes animals, that includes other living things on this planet that we feel for, we feel connected to, and we find that they're in pain. And when they're in pain, we can be in pain as well. And so trauma exposure response is the way that we respond to life as a result of traumatic experiences. I've heard recently of an ambulance driver won't let their kids ride skateboards because they've seen so many skateboarding accidents. A policeman might not let his kids sleep over at a friend's house because they've heard of all the stories. Whatever it is, it can be so many things for you and I, but it's important that we honor the space and the place that we're in. The problem happens is when we can't be present, we can't make balanced decisions because of the influx of trauma that has happened to us. There's a couple of great books on this we're going to teach on, and the quote I gave you before was from Laura Vandernoot Lipsky, who wrote a great book called Trauma Stewardship. But here's a couple of things as evidence of what happens when we are living with trauma exposure response. We become hypervigilant. We can begin minimizing things. Our creativity diminishes. We can head towards things like addictions that numb the pain for us. We can feel guilty if we take a day off or time off. There's a sense of helplessness. There's a lot of things that can come as a result of being continually exposed to trauma, and we respond in a way that robs us from life. We can't be present at a football game without wondering, I wonder where the ambulance is. I wonder where the first aid guys are. I wonder if there's a fire, how quickly we're going to get out of those places. If we can't be present in the life that we've been given, there may be evidence that we're being affected and have a response from trauma exposure. And there is healing available, and it's often linked to things like compassion fatigue, burnout, and other things. So I wanted to share a few thoughts with you as I'm working with some people to put together some great material that we'll present to you over time. But I just want to bless you with that, and hope you're doing well. Do take care of yourself over this Christmas and New Year's break. Take time off, turn your phone off, switch everything off, spend time with family, friends, maybe even by yourself. Do things that matter. Get in touch with creation. Do something that is refreshing to you. And if what I've said is touches you and you're like, that's what it is, go and seek professional help through a counselor or a psychologist. Go see your GP is always a good start. As always, shalom. Bless you heaps.